Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this sock monkey. This is the second one. This is the first one that I had made. The general sock monkey comes in gray and white, but I've seen him in all different multicolors. So today I'm actually going to be making him in pink and gray. If you'd like to make him in blue and gray, you can switch out the pink bands for blue bands, or if you'd like to make him in only gray, just replace any of the pink bands with gray bands. So go ahead and collect your supplies. You're going to need, if you're doing all gray, you'll need about 130 gray rubber bands, 50 white bands, 2 black bands, and about 10 red bands. If you're going to mix him in like this with a color, then you would just split the gray bands in half. So you'd probably need about 70 gray bands and then 70 of the color that you choose to use. The first part that we're going to be starting with is we need to make the arms. In order to do that, we're going to start with some gray, and as I said before, I'm going to mix my gray and pink. So you'll take 1 gray and 1 pink. If you're going with all gray, this would be where you would just use 2 gray rubber bands. And we're coming down on the top left peg with 2 bands. And we're going to repeat that step coming down 5 times. And then we want to switch over to white bands. So you're going to come down twice more with 2 white bands. And then we want to cap off the bottom with a single white band to create 3 loops. So 1, 2, 3. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and grab your hook going through the cap band and bring it all the way up. And this would be one of the arms. So if you'd like, go ahead and pause the video and make a second one, because we do need 2 arms for our monkey, and then come on back and we'll work on the next part. The next part we need to make is the leg extension. In order to do that, you're just going to go ahead and grab a gray and a pink band from the top left, coming down twice, followed by 2 white bands, and then we're going to cap that off to create 3 loops with a single white band. 1, 2, 3, and then we can go ahead and loop that up. And set that aside on your holding hook. Go ahead and pause the video and make a second one, and then we'll continue on. The next thing we need to make is the snout piece right here. We're going to be doing that with white bands. So you're coming down from the top left with 2 white bands. From the center with 2 white bands, and on the right. Then going to come down again on your left with 2 more bands. Two more on the right. And in the center. You're then going to take 2 red bands coming from the 3rd peg on the right to the 4th peg in the center. Do the same thing on the left side with 2 red bands. We're going to fill in the third center to the fourth center with 2 white bands, and we're going to cap that, create 3 loops with a single red. So 1, 2, 3. We then want to take a single white band, you're going to double it and place it across the top triangle on the second peg down, and take a single, double it from the right third to the left third, and this is what you should have. Then go ahead and grab your hook and we can begin looping. Going into the capping band, you're only going to grab the top 2 white bands and bringing them forward. Grabbing the first 2 red bands, bringing those to your left, and the next 2 to the right. And then you can go ahead and loop all the way up. And since this is the top part of the snout, we actually are going to want to remove it from underneath. So you're just going to gently pull everything off. And then take your hook, go up underneath the bands to remove it from the loom. And then you should have his snout. The next part that we're going to work on is the tail. For the tail, you're going to start with a single gray rubber band. You're going to double it, coming down from the top left. Then a single pink or blue, or this would be gray if you're doing all gray. And we're going to double that. And we're going to alternate these colors almost to the bottom. So gray, single double pink, single double gray, single double pink, single double gray, single double pink, gray, and then pink. And then for the last 2, those will be white. So take a single white, double it, do that again. And then we're going to cap off the bottom, creating 4 loops. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you can go ahead and grab your hook and loop that all the way to the top. And then that's how we create his tail. If you want, you can make it a little longer by just adding a couple more from the top. To do that, you would take the next color in line, and I'm going to place this on my hook, and then just single, double, and pull this through. And see, that adds to the tail, adds some length to the tail. It's really going to be up to you on how long you want the tail to be. Just like that. Okay, now we're ready to go ahead and begin on the body itself. We're going to be starting at the top of the loom with 2 white bands coming from the center down to the left top peg. 2 more white bands from the top center peg to the right top peg. You're then going to come down on your left with 2 bands and 2 bands on the right. 2 bands in the center. And then we're coming from the second center peg to the left second peg, and the same thing to the right second peg. Then we're going to switch over to our body color. So I'm going with my 1 pink and 1 gray. And I'm going to come down twice on the left. And twice on the right. You're then going to bring it into the chin peg. And then filling in the center. Then we're going to continue down with our 2 bands going from the center peg back out to the left. And repeat that going to the right. And then we're going to come down 4 times on the left. And repeat that on the right. And then we're going to close it off, bringing it to the center. We're going to go back and fill in the middle, so coming back up here, coming down with 2 bands. And switching to 3 bands. Three more. And 3. And then closing in here with just 2. And then coming down for his legs, we're back to 2 bands. And you're going to bring those all the way to the bottom of the loom. And repeat that on the other side. And this is what you should have. Once we've done that, we can go ahead and attach some of our pieces. For the tail, it's probably easiest to take these 2 bands here and pull the tail onto these 2 bands, and then we'll replace those and then you can just take the tail and tuck it down underneath the loom to have it out of the way. Then we're going to grab our arms. Those are going to go on these two pegs here. So it's the 5th peg from the top. Just like that. The 2 leg extensions will go on the bottom 2 pegs. We also need to create some ears. So to do that, I'm going to take 1 single pink band, looping it to create 4 loops on my hook. I'm going to do the same thing with a gray band. And then I'm going to take a gray band and double it and pull all of those bands onto the double band. And I'm going to hook that to the 2nd peg from the top, right here. And then we'll repeat that again. So gray band, 4 loops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 pink, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm taking a gray, double it, and placing it on the other peg. Then I'm also going to create the eyes. So I'm taking a single black band, creating 4 loops, taking a single gray, double it, and I'm going to place that from the 3rd peg down on the center to the 3rd peg down on the left. And I'm going to do that again for the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, single, double, and placing it right there. And now we just need to place some crossover bands. So I'm going to take a single gray and double it, placing it on the 3rd peg down on the right, creating a triangle across to the 3rd on the left. And then on the 4th peg down on these pegs here, I'm going to create another triangle with just a single. Moving into the body, these would just be double bands, and I'm going 1 below the arms with double bands in the triangle. On the next one down as well. On the next one. And on the last one. And this is what you should have. Once we have all of this in place, we can go ahead and start looping. So going down underneath our feet attachment, which apparently is going to come loose. And we're just going to bring that up. And then repeat that on the other side. Oh, one other thing, we need to place a capping band right here. So take a single pink or gray and create 3 loops. 1, 2, 3. Now going in through that capping band, grabbing the first 2 bands, bringing them forward, grabbing the next 2 to your left, and the next 2 to your right. And then we're going to go ahead and loop all the way up. I'm getting stuck tonight. And I'm losing bands. Come back down on your left side. And then going straight up the center. And don't forget, through the center here, these are triple bands. So make sure you're grabbing all 3. Okay, once we're here, we're going to go through the chin peg, grabbing the first set of bands. And going forward, go back into the chin peg, grabbing the next 2 bands to your left, and the next 2 to your right. And you want to stop there and push all of these bands down. And now we want to attach our snout. If you look at the snout, each section has 4 bands. So the first 4 are going to go on this right 4th peg from the top. The next 4, the middle 4, will go here, and the last 4 will go here. Just like that. And once that's in place, you can continue looping. So we want to go underneath all of these bands on the right, grabbing only the bottom 2 and bringing those forward. and you want to stop right here. Repeat the same thing on the other side. And then coming up the center. We want to make sure that this middle band is looped before these two sides so that the whites are showing and not this band here. So now we can go back in through the ear band, grabbing only the top two white bands and coming to the center. Do that on the other side. Now we can go back in and bring it all the way to the top. Now once you're up there, we need to just create the top portion, the little top pieces of his hat. Now to do that, I'm going to use 2 pink, 2 gray, and 1 white. And I'm going to start with the white band. We're going to go through the top of his head and pulling that through. Grab the top part to create your slip knot. If you need to, use your hook to pull that slip knot right at the top because you want it to be in the center, and pull that tight. Then I'm going to take a gray, go back in, and repeat the slip knot. And I want this one to be right next to that one. So again, I'm just going to pull it up and next to the white one and pull those tight together. And then I'm going to do a pink one on this side as well. And pull this one tight too. I'm going to take another gray going through this side. And a pink. And you can put as many of these on as you'd like. If you'd like to do more, you're welcome to do that as well. And pull them all tight, and you'll see that they're in order there. Once you've done that, he is ready to come off the loom. So using the back of your hook to gently remove him, and once he's off the loom, he needs a little bit of fixing and straightening, but shouldn't need too much. Go ahead and just pull up on his hat and push his eyes out. And then straighten out his snout some. And pull his arms and his legs. And then I'm going to pull, if you just pull from the back, it pulls that band back out to get the tail to stick out from the back. And there's my little sock monkey. And he matches my little blue sock monkey. As you can see, this tail is a little bit longer. So that's how you make a sock monkey. I hope you like him.